Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Urban Update. I'm Byron Barnett, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. On the show this morning, all the summer fun stuff in store for the Bostonian arts and culture crowd as Chief of Arts and Culture for the City of Boston, Julie Burrows, stops by. Later on the program, Metro Lacrosse, an urban youth lacrosse program that serves inner city kids from Boston and Chelsea. And also on the show, how one health insurer is dealing with the rapidly changing demographics of Massachusetts. But up first, recently the Academy of Notre Dame in Tyngsboro closed school after racist threats were posted to social media and found in a bathroom there. Unfortunately, this type of incident is becoming more and more prevalent, and too often race and ethnicity are barriers between co-workers, neighbors, and even community organizations. Want to be inclusive, but they don't necessarily know how to address these sensitive topics. YW Boston's Dialogues on Race and Ethnicity provides a safe and structured way for groups to talk openly about barriers and work together to create solutions. And to offer more details on this and 10-year program that's been adopted in several Boston public schools, we've invited Sylvia Ferrell-Jones, President and Chief Executive Officer, and Paula Lima Jones, Racial Justice Program Manager for YW Boston. As the first YWCA in the nation, YW Boston has been at the forefront of advancing equality for 150 years. Welcome to Urban Update, ladies. Thanks for coming in. Sylvia, let me start with you by talking a little bit about why something like this is needed, this program. And people and organizations want to address the topic, but going about it is somewhat of a challenge at times, is it not?
Well, race and ethnicity is a very sensitive topic, and we find that people are interested in talking with one another. They're afraid of offending others. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing, and they need a safe environment to do that. So for 10 years, we've been offering this program, Dialogues on Race and Ethnicity, and it's a structured, curriculum-based program where we bring together people of different races and ethnicities for a series of conversations that are facilitated by trained facilitators. And we give them the tools and the techniques and the strategies to learn from their own experiences and understand how to create a more inclusive environment where they work, where they live, where they pray, where they play.
Okay. And we're always talking about let's have this conversation about race, but you're actually doing it here.
Yes.
Paula, just give us a sense of what the program entails.
So similar to what Sylvia was alluding to, if you can picture, it's a group of 15 to 25 racially and ethnically diverse participants coming in to talk about how does race show up in their personal lives, how is it showing up in their communities and their organizations, and as we stress, how do we move from that conversation of dialogue into action. And so we go about this in a number of ways, in both small group conversations where people are getting to know a little bit more about one's background. How do you come to this conversation about race? And also in a large group to talk about more of the systemic issues around race and the barriers that we do see in our organizations and our community.
Sylvia, because who's participating in the program, the organizations?
Well, we've worked a lot in various Boston public schools, including elementary and other level schools. We've been in the Curley School, the Roosevelt School, Boston Latin School, which, as you know, has had some incidents that have been quite public of late. We've also worked in other nonprofits, including the Boston Children's Chorus, Healthcare for the Homeless. We've done it in some communities. The community of Roslindale, the town of Lexington has had dialogues. So quite a variety of places.
Paula, I guess, do you have a sense of like the impact that this program has had, and also just sort of walk me through how it works. What do people talk about in these groups?
So in terms of the impact, I think people are often coming with a general sense of maybe their community members or their coworkers, but what we're getting at with the Dialogues program is to kind of go beneath the surface. So not just what are assumptions, but allowing them to tell the stories that they believe of themselves. So we're talking about, you know, we might ask a question of, think about your past when you were young all the way up to adulthood. Who are the people in your lives? Who are the people presently in your lives? And how does that affect your strengths and your challenges in terms of how we relate across race and ethnicity?
Okay.
And I would say that in terms of the impact, I think it goes in terms of people's own perception of themselves, but also the stories of others, as I mentioned, right? So what are the assumptions that we're holding of our neighbors and our coworkers and even our students, and how are we allowing them to be able to fill in the gaps? And moving into action, right? We also have participants who are I like to think of the dialogues as almost a laboratory, right? So how are you gaining the skills and the practice and being able to engage in race in a really authentic way and taking it outside?
Sylvia, for decades, it seemed this was more of a black and white thing, but I guess it's really a lot wider than that, considering the sweeping demographic changes that we see taking place in the country now.
It's certainly much wider than black and white these days. We have a multi-ethnic, multiracial city here in Boston, and that's becoming true across the United States. We have people from various countries in South America, from throughout Southeast Asia, from many countries in the Caribbean, many countries in Africa. So when you think about Latino cultures and countries, when you think about just the Caribbean countries, it's not monolithic. And African Americans are not a monolithic culture. There's not one point of view and one experience.
Okay, and I guess we're just going to have to wrap this up here, although I have many, many more questions. But just how does one go about getting involved and want to participate in the program if you have a school or a company, or how would you go about getting more information and participating in the program?
Sure. You can visit the website www.ywboston.org and learn a little bit more about not only the dialogues on race and ethnicity, but our other programs. And you can also email us at dialogues@ywboston.org and set up a meeting.
Okay, we'll have to leave it right there. Paula Lima Jones, Sylvia Ferrell-Jones, thank you both for coming in, and congratulations on keeping such a great program going all these years.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having us.
Okay, all right. Well, coming up, how Tufts Health Plan is embracing the rapidly changing demographics of Massachusetts. Their CEO is up next, right here on Urban Update.